All right, welcome back to The Vibe, inside here on The Vibe at Penn's Peak Radio. It's Cody, and it's just past 11 a.m. on the East Coast, and I have the awesome pleasure of welcoming one of my very first interviews as far as artists are concerned. Artists not from around here, Kayley Hill, located in Nashville, Tennessee. Kayley, can you hear me?
I can.
You can hear me. All right, Kayley, how you doing today?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. It's a beautiful day outside. I hope the weather in Nashville's all right.
It's been amazing. Amazing this past week.
Well, that's pretty good. Just going to tell the people, about how I came about your profile and everything. And I looked up some of your music, and I thought, that kind of fits in the genre here at our radio station. So I said, why not message her and see if she wants to come on for an interview? And you're like, yeah, man, I'd be down for it.
Yeah, so a buddy of mine has been helping me with my Instagram. As you may know, as an artist, it's so hard to kind of wear all of the hats. So he's been really amping up just my engagement on social media and finding people that would be good for me to follow and stuff like that. And so that's basically how you landed in my realm.
Yeah.
And then when you followed up with me, I was like, well, for sure, I want to hang out with Cody in
yeah,
Pennsylvania.
Man, I'm a good time. Yeah, I mean, Pennsylvania, it depends on what day, but otherwise it's pretty good most of the time. It's a good area.
Yeah.
But that's so awesome that you answered me, and I was like, whoa, and it was like rapidly fast too. It wasn't just like, I'll wait 2 days and then answer this guy. It's like, oh, I'm going to answer him right now. I want to do it.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things, like, I have definitely learned, just being in this industry, correspondence is everything. So if somebody reaches out to me about something like that, and I know it's something I'm interested in, I typically, and even if I'm not interested in it, I'll give you at least a courtesy message. So I'm really good about responding. And with you, it was rapidly fast. It was like uncannily fast. It was kind of weird. I was like, oh, it's going to think I'm weird.
No. I've met other weird people in my life. I think they're weird, but no, you're fine. So I looked on your profile, and all the way back, you grew up in Bristol, Tennessee. Is this correct?
I did.
In Bristol. Okay, so what's there to do in Bristol? I've never been there. I've never been west of, where was I? Well, Tennessee's down. I was in Minnesota, but I've never been down that way.
Well, East Tennessee, where I'm from Bristol, and that actually... It's such a sweet city and definitely a wonderful place to grow up. But I lived in Bristol, Tennessee. There's actually Bristol, Virginia. And what's really funny is that the state line went right through my neighborhood. So when I was a kid, I'd go across the street to my friend's place and I'd be in Virginia. And, they all went to different schools and paid different taxes. Of course, as a kid, that, taxes aren't on your radar. But that was definitely super cool. And actually, Bristol, Tennessee is the birthplace of country music.
Get out of town.
I mean, it is. And they have the Rhythm and Roots Festival there every year. Great people have played, including Chris Stapleton, and they have wonderful headliners every year. And it's actually kind of, if you're familiar with the Carter family, like June Carter and Mother Maybelle, that was their time. They were, I'm not sure if it was their first recordings that were done in Bristol, but they might have been.
Well,
that's why they call it the birthplace.
That is so cool. I've never actually knew that before. So you learn something new every day.
Yeah, right?
I'm going to take that with me in case I need it to play trivia or something like that.
There you go.
And then let's go back. When you first started music, what attracted it to you, and what age did you start it?
That's such a great question because I truly cannot tell you a time when I decided I would pursue music. It honestly, I feel like it's just been written on my DNA. Like, I came out of the womb ready to sing. It was just, I was created with an instrument, and that's truly how I feel about it. And for me, it's like, it's definitely a calling, but it's almost like music chose me versus the other way around.
Oh, man. I mean, I could just imagine. You come out, you're like, I'm ready to go. Give me a guitar. Yeah. I'm ready to sing.
And I mean, like, my parents they talk about all the different times that I sang in public just as, like, a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
Like, whether it was at my sister's softball game or, in elementary school or my preschool, all of those times I don't really remember as much, but I know it was definitely a prominent aspect of just me. And my parents never really knew what to do about it. They're like, well, we're proud of you. We want to show you off, but we don't know exactly how to get you to the next level, you know?
Yeah, it's one of those industries where, like you said, you kind of have to just connect. And if you hit the right people, I mean, you get your big break, so to speak.
Pretty much. I mean, I learned in college that the definition of luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And so, you know, opportunities can pass you by if you're not prepared to meet them. And that's kind of just where I've been in the last few years, just making sure that I could be as prepared as possible, even with answers to questions. Like, you know, somebody said, you know, you need to put together an elevator speech. And I was like, well, what's an elevator speech? Well, basically who you are as an artist and what, you know, if you got into an elevator with somebody, how long it would take to get to their floor, that's how long you have to talk about yourself. So it's an interesting idea.
It is very interesting because it's just that short span of time. And I don't know, sometimes I can't even think that fast, let alone put together a speech in that amount of time.
I know. But see, that's where you have to be prepared. And so, because you never know, like, especially in Nashville, like, all of the big wigs are here. And so if I run into them by chance, I need to be ready to hand in my card and say, this is what I do, this is who I am, this is how I could bring you value, kind of.
Right. Wow, Nashville. What's it like living in Nashville?
It can be, man, it's amazing and scary all at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first moved here, I wasn't knee-deep in the industry like I am now. And it can be intimidating for new artists that just move here that don't really have a network base. Maybe your skills aren't as sharpened as you'd like them to be. And it's definitely, when I moved here a few years ago, I was definitely in a different place than I am now. And I feel really confident with my product and, you know, what I offer. And now it's just, you know, waiting for the right time and the right opportunity to come along. But I decided a few months ago, I was like, you know what, I'm not going to let myself be intimidated anymore, because there's always going to be another person that sings just as good or not, or maybe even better, or maybe their songs are better, or, you know, maybe they can play guitar better, or maybe they have more money to kind of project them and invest into their music. But at the end of the day, like, my journey is my own, and I can't let anybody else's journey affect, you know, my peace and my contentment with my pursuit, you know?
Right, yeah, you have your own time clock, I like to call it.
Yeah.
That's like an easier way of looking at it, because I know a lot of my friends say, well, I got to get married before I'm this age. And I'm like, well, let's just slow down here a little bit. Like, you know, that's a year away. You know, it's like, I don't think that's going to happen right now.
Yeah, and you just you rob yourself of just joy when you just compare and you put expectations on yourself that, you know, somebody else's life is not your own. And you know.
True, very true. I have to ask you this too. What are your influences? I mean, I know you had a lot of different people on your webpage and your Facebook pages, but if there was one or two artists that you compare yourself to and why, could you tell us that?
Sure. So I think right now I'm I'm country, but I'm Americana, and there's some soul in there. And, you know, I've always wanted to kind of emulate what Alison Krauss does with her music, the instrumentation, the collaboration that she has with the instrumentalists that are in Union Station. That has always been like a style of music that I would like to incorporate into what I do. And then again, there's also aspects of Dolly Parton in my sound. Like, I really like to write from a genuine place. I like to tell stories, and obviously Tennessee is my home, and bringing that into the music, both instrumentally and lyrically.
I saw that you have an influence of Chris Stapleton, and I gotta say, I am heavy into the Chris Stapleton mix, man. I love Chris Stapleton. Love him.
Yeah, see, the term is to riff or to run, but like, I love doing riffs and runs in my songs, and that's basically just when you embellish and like add, you know, little nuances to a melody line, kind of what he does in Tennessee Whiskey, that nice riff line that he has.
Yeah.
But I do that a lot in my music. It doesn't really nod to bluegrass as much, so that's kind of where I say I have a little bit of soul in what I do.
Yeah, he's such a humble dude. I'm going to see him in October in Virginia. I can't actually wait for that. I need to come now because it's going to be so cool. Do you get a lot of fans that email and send you messages and like keep up with you a lot? Are you in on like the fan mail side? Do you get a lot of people doing that?
Yeah, but social media has been such an incredible platform for fans and for artists. So even though I do have an email list and will occasionally send out a newsletter, I feel like I have the most interaction on Facebook and Instagram, quite honestly. And it always blows my mind because maybe they saw me last year playing out somewhere in Nashville, and they'll reach out to me and they'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm coming down to be playing. And that's happened so many times to me. And so I'll show up at a gig, and fans that I have from Canada will be there, and they're like, oh, we came especially to see you. And that always blows my mind. And
Canada, that's pretty far north, man.
I know. There's a lot of Canadians that vacation in Nashville, believe it or not.
I mean, those Canadians, I love them. And they just seem they're all over the place. There's a lot of different people that go to Australia, and it's like, what? It's just all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you have this new song, You're Her Man, and I really like it. I dig it. And I'm almost really into any type of music. I dig all different types of vibes since my show is called The Vibe. That's why I named it like that. Is there something your fans should expect in the future, maybe an album or something like that?
Yeah, so I've been really heavily writing right now, and I'm definitely... It's always a tricky thing, because when you step into a writing room, whether you're writing by yourself or with a co-writer, it's hard to put parameters on yourself, like, oh, I want to write for my record, and because I always essentially want to write for my record.
Yeah, of course.
But whatever comes out isn't always necessarily good for my brand or something that I want to, produce and distribute. So I'm, working on filling that roster of my next album and what that looks like, and will probably actually release a few singles throughout the year is my main plan, and then drop the whole album when it's ready.
Well, that sounds very, very cool, because I'm always into albums. So if you drop it, I'll most likely get it.
Yeah, it's crazy because I don't know if you pay attention to the trend for pop music, but really a lot of these artists are just releasing singles throughout the year.
I have seen that. I have.
Yeah, and they're pushing it as much as they can and creating as much of an earworm for their listeners as possible before releasing the next thing. And so that way when the album comes, they're all familiar with them and they have it all kind of compiled there for them to go through and listen to again.
Yeah.
But it kind of it makes you want to be a little bit more strategic about the songs you record and release. Make sure that they're really your vision and your brand and going to support your artistry.
Right. They call a lot of albums these days mixtapes, which I thought was kind of odd because, growing up, I always thought mixtapes were like, hey, you just put different artists on different tapes and that's like a mixtape. But now, when you create an album, it's like, oh, I'm creating a mixtape. It's like, wait, hold on. This is like a weird thing,
Yeah, that's interesting to me. One of my friends actually released, it was a 3-song EP, and he called it his mixtape. So I don't know. I'm not sure where that's coming from, honestly.
I think somebody just decided, hey, I'm going to call it this, and everybody's going to roll with it, and that's what it's been for however long now. So, Kayley, what are your plans here for the future? Where do you see yourself 5 years in the music industry? Do you see yourself with a band, or are you going to be solo artist touring or something like that? Where do you see yourself?
Yeah, well, I definitely want to play on some notable stages. I think the next thing for me to kind of get to where we want to go, whether it's a publishing deal or really pursuing a record label, it would be about writing the songs that are going to get me there and putting together a band that's going to be loyal and want to stand behind what I do. Maybe pursuing some management and some booking agencies that could really kind of elevate me too, because right now I'm wearing all of those hats and playing all of those roles, which can be hard, and that's the joy and also the demise of the independent artist.
Yeah.
But I would love to be signed to a wonderful record label that has the resources that I don't have on my own, and just make music and tour and just share my joy.
That's
on the biggest scale that I possibly can, I guess.
Listen, you always got to shoot for the stars. You know what I mean? You always got to shoot for.
Oh yeah.
Well, Kayley, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you, and right now I'm going to give you more of the spotlight, and you can plug your social media and tell your fans one last thing that they should know.
Oh, yeah. Well, guys, I am so excited. If you've tuned in, I'm eager to get to know you, so please reach out. You can go to my website, KayleyHill.com, KayleyHill.com, and that'll provide links to all of my social media, Instagram, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. You can add yourself to my email list, plug that in. If you want to go straight to my Instagram, it's Kayley.Hill, and again, there's links all throughout there in my bio. Make sure you check out You're Her Man on Spotify, add it to a playlist, follow me on Spotify, download it on iTunes, share as much as you can with all of your friends, and I hope that you're going to be looking out for the next thing I drop.
Well, thank you again, Kayley, for calling in and being with us today. It's, like I said, it's been a joy. I feel good about this. I don't know about you, but I feel really good about this.
Good. I'm excited. That's awesome.
Well, thank you for calling in, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you, Cody. I appreciate you. All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.